I haven't had Streamlabs going in a long time, so it looks dumb. I have all this stuff going on up top. It's not a big deal. I usually use my phone for the like Daniel in the morning and Daniel at night and stuff like that. I found it. It's just sitting on my chair. Anyways, I lost it. I couldn't find it. I figured setting up my streaming channels would be pretty cool. So, anyways, here I am streaming again for what it is worth. Normally on Daniel at in the morning, I'll do something like let you know what's going on in my life, what I've been doing, what I've been playing, how I've been dealing with life. It's just a what's going on kind of thing that I kind of just sort of stopped doing. I don't know. We've had a kind of run in with like just unlucky situations in the past 4 or 5 years where we were kind of at like a precipice of like going over the hump, getting over the hump. You know, a lot of times for people who purchase things, they'll buy, especially buying something big like a car or a house. You'll get to that hump where you'll finish paying off, or you'll especially on a house on like a 30-year mortgage, you'll get to a point where you'll stop paying off interest. You'll start paying on principal, and you can really start to see the amount of money that you owe kind of just decrease. So, a few years ago, I talked about I had a Jeep. A little girl blew a stop sign, popped my airbags, which a lot of times is just automatic totaling your car. And that car was, I think, like $2,000 or $3,000 away from being paid off. And so we got shafted by our insurance company. And I shouldn't say our insurance company, who is Progressive, our local insurer. And Progressive has changed the way they've done things, which helped out later on. So after we lost our Jeep, we got a Toyota RAV4, which is a fantastic utility vehicle. And me and my wife loved it to death. We hit it was iced. So there's a road in my town that is basically a 90-degree turn. It's by two museums. So one museum is an art museum, and the other one, right where the turn happens, is like a log cabin, like early 16, 17, 1800s Illinois living museum sort of thing, and where I live. So it's basically a 90-degree turn. I came at it, and I slowed down. I think I was going 10 or 15 miles an hour because I knew it was snowing. It was kind of cold. It's always a kind of sort of iffy situation, but usually not a big deal if you come at it with the idea of what's the weather going on. You know, is it a little bit icy? Is it a little bit nasty outside? Come at it in a slow situation. So I came at it. The speed I normally come at it at a clean day is about 20 miles an hour. So I was significantly under that. I think I was significantly slowing down about a half mile away. And so I'm slowing down, and I hit ice. And this is in the city that I live in. It's not a big city. It's a city of about 17,000 people. I think the census says something else, like 14 or 15,000. But we probably got legitimately 17,000 people that live. And if you add people that work here, because we have a big tire plant, you have a significant amount of people that drive through the city. It was literally, from what I understand, the only road in the city that they forgot to de-ice. The only road in the city that has a 90-degree turn was the only road they did not de-ice. There was, and I was the second car to get in an accident on the road. There was, let me see, a truck came in right after us, a big truck, lifted. He like slid himself out of the way so that he wouldn't like fall on top of us. That cost him his right tire, his passenger tire. Popped clean off his truck. He had just bought the truck, used, and it had Chinese parts on it. So the tire just came clean off. Luckily for him, he works at a dealership doing repairs of that nature. So he was able to get it towed to work, and then after work, he was able to repair it. Hopefully, he didn't get charged any kind of big charge for that. He already had his new rims and all the parts that he would need to have replaced anyways. All that stuff was already waiting for him at work. So I don't think it was a big deal for him. It was more of an annoyance. But for me, I was taking my wife to the hospital. She was getting a colonoscopy for potentially having colon cancer. It runs on the female side of her family, which is rare. But she was getting checked out, and so I was taking her there, and I had an accident, and it was a very, very slow accident in which she screamed in my ear for at least a third of it. I went backwards into I'm not sure what to call it. Basically a V-shaped, almost V-shaped section where it drains all the water in the local area into and pushes it down into wherever the water goes, that collects and then goes into the local rivers and tributaries around our area, and then eventually into the Mississippi. Anyways, sorry I peeked a little bit right there. We went in backwards. That was what I was attempting to do, was making sure that I knew I was hitting it. I knew I was hitting it from the direction I was going, from a significant amount of ways. I turned my wheels, made sure we went down backwards into it. I believe I damaged the passenger side boot. The whole passenger side tire connection to was torn up, and them pulling me out didn't help. Outside of that, there was some damage to the bumper. They totaled it out. It should not have got totaled out. We owed about, I'm thinking, $12,000 on that RAV4. We got that money back, plus almost $6,000 back, minus the $1,000, so about $5,000 back. I took that money, we put it on a Toyota Corolla, 2004 Toyota Corolla hybrid, which gets about 53 to 55 miles to the gallon. Average, which is pretty freaking amazing. If we fill up our Toyota once a week, no, Illinois is bad, but it's not California bad, so it's not terrible. We do pretty good, but compared to like our neighbors like Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri, they look over here, it's terrible, but it's not absolutely terrible. I've seen worse during the the Obama administration. Anyways, we got well over $4 here. They just raised taxes, but that just means that this car is paid. This car is paying itself off. I feel like we're filling our RAV4 twice a week. I live 24 miles away from work, so me and my wife go back and forth to work 8 times a week, I think, is what it averages out to. So we save a lot of money and just almost, not quite, but almost doubling our RAV4. We save a lot more money when we're driving around in town, which was like the weakness of our RAV4. But like in town, we get something like 110, 150 miles to the gallon on our setup. We can look at what we're doing. Anyways, that's cost us a lot of money that we would rather have been spending on our house. Tools, I've got to jack up the back of our house. My dog ripped out like a quarter of the plumbing out of the back of the house. Not the dog's fault. I don't know how it happened. We have a hose that runs along, that comes out of a spigot, runs along basically along the side of our house. It's not within 3 feet of the dog. Somehow the dog got a hold of the hose and was able to pull it up and then tangle itself up in there. Anyways, it tore out and it pumped out like $700+ worth of water. That got retrofitted, and I didn't pay for that. Thankfully, hopefully, I don't see it on this bill, but on last bill, I didn't see it. I spent over $100 fixing that. Me and my brother-in-law. I gotta thank my brother-in-law Anthony for coming over, and I could have done it, but he did it for me. Made sure it was done correctly, which I appreciate. Most of the money was like $48, I think, $49 ish. Was to like the new regulation. If you have we live in Southern Illinois, but close enough to being where we need a cap that pops. So if it freezes in the wintertime, and water won't bust your outside faucet, it will pop the cap. Which I guess, could potentially save you a significant amount of money. My basement is mostly insulated. No big problem. It's all rock underneath my house, which is another problem. The crawl space in my house needs to be dug down. I got in my house and I went looked for the shutoff valve. You should have a shutoff valve in your house in case of a water bust. Wherever, I couldn't find where the water came up in our house. And if it came up in our house somewhere further in the house, I can't climb in there. I mean, it's like a foot and a half gap. I'm too fat for that. Maybe like a child could climb under there comfortably. My brother-in-law, who is in okay shape, couldn't comfortably fit underneath there. So we're probably going to end up having professionals have to come in under there. The back of my house is plenty of room to crawl around in. That's where most of our water lines are run, to go in there and do everything. Anyways, we're going to need a shutoff valve. Wherever our water's coming in, there's going to need to be a shutoff valve put in case something like that ever happens again. Hopefully it never does, but you never know. Friggin' 2020 didn't help. It's little things. And right now, I feel like we're at that hump again. We're at that hump where my wife just got her promotion. I'm probably going to get a pay bump next year. Union contract ends next year, so hopefully we get a pretty decent pay bump. Then things are starting to look up, which always makes me a little bit nervous. Well, what is going to happen? That's how I feel right now, and I shouldn't feel that way. What is going to happen? What is going to stop me from going over that hump and moving past this and being able to push this significant. I own 2 properties. I've got one sitting there right next door that could be making us money. And if I didn't have all this debt that just keeps on piling on to me and my wife, like every time we get, it's not like overly burdensome right now, but it's enough burdensome that like if I didn't have this debt from like the mistakes we made, right, or the things we did, or the things that happened in our life, the big stuff is like not stuff we can really control. Like the lady driving through the intersection on a highway, we can't do anything about that. She made the mistake. She was too poor to pay for her mistake, and so I paid for her mistake, despite not being at fault. But the city not de-icing a road that needed to be iced, they're not going to pay for that. I paid for that. So those are the big ones. Those are the kind of like you were paying $260 a month for your car bill. Now you're paying $498 a month for your car bill. That sucks. And remember, my wife went to the hospital, so we've got to pay for that. That's to pay that off. Luckily, we just paid that off. I think that was $5,000. That's what our out of pocket for one person was, so that's all we had to pay. That maxed out our at that time I was paying 100% coverage, so that was it. $5,000, that was it. That's all I had to pay for the whole rest of the year for her. Anything else was completely 100% coverage. We didn't have any real problems with our insurance. I know some people say they have problems. I've never had any kind of real problems with our insurance. This was a family history, so covered. Anyways, we are at that point again. Where it looks like if things fall right, we will be able to if I could put a significant amount of money into the house next door, me and my brother-in-law can maybe get this up and running and get this rented out to a good family who needs a house, that doesn't want to spend a ton of money on housing. Maybe get it properly done. We want to make sure that it's done right, and get that rented out. Not only we help a family out, find a place to live, but if something were to happen, we're right here. We're right next door. If our tenant has a problem or something happens, God forbid something terrible were to happen, we would be right here to assist our tenant. Or if they were to cause an issue, we would be right here. So it's not like our neighbors would be complaining and our tenants would be telling us they were lying. We are right here, so we would know. Anyways, that's my hope. My hope is that we make it over this hump. We're closing in on 50 years old. I'm 45 this year. My wife's about to be 45. I'd like to have this house completely done, potentially done by the end of the year, if possible. We've got enough wood in the back that there's no reason we shouldn't be able to make a back porch. We'll raise the housing, utility of the housing. I'd like to wrap around, so we have a huge in the house next door, even the house here. We have a large decrease in our in our house. So from the street level to the back of the house, it's like 16 foot in the back of the house. It might be 12 foot, but it feels like it's 16 foot. But anyways, if we can get that kind of like a wraparound sort of porch area where like the back door. So we used to have stairs in the back. When my grandmother-in-law owned it before she passed of colon cancer, that spread to her bones. Anyways, we won't talk about that. But it is the reason why my wife was worried. She had paid for some stairs on the back porch, or not a back porch, but it's an enclosed back area of the house, and there was steel stairs. The people who were renting it out at the time like stripped a whole bunch of stuff out and then scrapped it at a scrap yard to pay for, you know, what people who do that kind of crap pay for. So anyways, there's where I'm at. I would like to, I'm almost tempted to, we were thinking about it, but if we get that house done, do we rent out that house, or do we move in that house and then switch over to the house we're living in now, which needs some work done as well? The house we live in now, I would like to redo the bathroom. I would like to redo a lot of the there's no doors in the house. The previous owner was an older lady who had Parkinson's, so they took the doors out, and she was a crafty lady, so she turned the doors into like all kinds of arts and crafts, which kind of stinks because it would have been nice to be able to move back in here and then put those doors back in. But so I bought doors for two of the rooms, the two back rooms. My brother-in-law actually created a door for our bedroom, which thank you very much, Anthony. He's the guy who's also helping with the other house. He will be paid back. So a part of any kind of rent we get from that house will definitely be going to my brother-in-law. Did I call him a cousin? I'm sorry if I said that. My brother-in-law, Anthony. Any kind of money we make, a significant amount of money, will be going to him to pay him back for all the work he's done. We will have to make sure that we don't pay him too much, or that could be taxed. Anyways, I'll have to make sure that we don't send him too much money. We'll have to make sure we balance that out so he gets money. We report that amount of money, and he can report that amount of money and not be taxed by the state of Illinois or the federal government. What else? What else do I need to talk about? My love seat broke. That sucks. But right now I'm not even using it because I've got 4 kittens sleeping in my love seat, pooping on the blanket I put on my love seat to protect it. That's the way it is sometimes. I've got 3 cats living inside. Well, 2 cats, 1 kitten. We've got a bunch of, I don't know what to call them. They're not really stray cats, but they're kind of like the neighborhood cats, if you call it that. We feed, our neighbors feed, neighbors on the other street feed. And so there's another cat lady that helps feed the cats of the neighborhood, so they never really go hungry. Pet food has gone up. That's another strain on the pockets that you don't normally think of. But pet food, like dog food, that I would have paid $15 for pre-COVID is now like $22 to $25 now. And then my wife switched all our dogs to not expensive dog food, but like semi-expensive dog food. So a legit 50-pound bag of dog food now runs us $75, and then the cat food she's feeding all the cats runs us another $25. So at the end, we're paying like $104 every 10 days for dog and cat food, and that adds up. That's like $3,600, $3,400 and pet food. That's not counting the time she goes out there and buys them like pig ears, or buys, the cats like some soft food or something like that. But I want to be to the point where like our debt is paid down. You want to keep about 20 to 30%, just to keep your debt. You want your 20 to 30% is where you want to be at. That's the sweet spot. 30%, closer to 30% if possible. That will rocket up your credit line. You get your credit line over 750, over close to 800, and you'll start being able to transfer a lot of like negative credit things, like credit cards you may have that are like 29%. Start talking them down, calling credit card companies, talking those down to like reasonable, sub 15%, sub 10% credits on those, that credit percentage on those. I am a little tipsy for some reason. 4 beers over like, I don't know, 11 hours, 10 hours. Anyways, that's kind of where I've been at this year. I guess this year. So we've had this car for a year and a half now. I love this car. It's a little bit hard to get in occasionally, especially after work when my neck is pretty stiff, but I really like it. On gaming news side, the console war is over, which is always a good thing, especially now at my age. I don't want to buy 2 consoles anymore. I've got a PC and an Xbox. I know a lot of people who are hardcore ponies think that's stupid, but for me, Play Anywhere is a huge deal. Ready or Not is a Play Anywhere title. I just played that with a buddy of mine. What else? Final Fantasy 16 is a Play Anywhere title. Final Fantasy 7 is going to be a Play Anywhere title. There's being able to just like pick up on my PC or pick up on my Xbox. It's pretty friggin' nice. I play Grounded a lot on my PC. Not so much on my Xbox, but I play Ready or Not a lot more on my Xbox, which is kind of weird. You think an FPS, even a tactical based FPS, would be more played on the PC, but that's just how it runs. I don't know. I'm glad console war is over. More and more games will be coming cross-platform, and I don't care about it anymore. I'm done with the arguing and all this BS. I'm just done. Anyways, what else? Oh, my Chicago Bears. The Bears. What I gotta say, dude, that game 1 of the 2025 season, it sucked. Losing sucks. Losing always sucks. But we knew going into this that there was going to be growing pains, and we saw it. First half, wonderful. Second half, not so wonderful. A lot of people want to blame Caleb Williams, and for those who don't know, I was a big Justin Fields fan. I thought they should have stuck with Justin Fields. You wouldn't have to have paid him that much more money than Caleb Williams is making right now. And you get I can't remember what Fields is making, but he's making. I'm pretty sure he's making less than Caleb Williams is. But anyways, you're making. You would be able to have gotten a lot of draft capital for trading that. Kept Caleb Williams, or like traded that number 1 pick. Got potentially two of the best wide receivers in the draft, and really bolstered what you had. And you would have never had to trade for Keenan Allen. Therefore, you're not trading for Keenan Allen. Therefore, you're not losing a 6th-round pick. Therefore, the 6th-round pick you gained for Justin Fields is like a nothing burger. And I believe that hurt him because they wanted to make sure that Justin Fields didn't hit that threshold where because there was a threshold where that 6th-round pick would have become a 4th-round pick. And the Steelers made sure that didn't happen. Anyways, cheap followers upstream bot. God, I really need to get that. I need to get a bot that bans these people automatically. Anyways, what have I been playing? I played Ready or Not. I'm over here like with my Xbox open. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy 16, which is weird. I'm not sure. I like the way you level up in Final Fantasy 16. It feels like you level up how they want you to level up. I was playing some Far Cry 6, which I really like Far Cry 6. Played some Starfield recently, a little bit of Ashen. Way of the Hunter, I've been kind of like putting a lot of hours into Way of the Hunter. I've been really liking Way of the Hunter. Yeah, so Final Fantasy 16, played a little Master Chief Collection. Really enjoyed Ready or Not. I think it's super underrated. But that's about it. I don't know what else I could talk about. Anyways, I guess that's the end. I'm ending now, people. For anybody who watches this, thank you so much for watching the end of this. Peace out.